When you pull cable to various locations in your home during new construction or remodel, follow these guidelines. Run cables centered along studs or joists. Always leave at least 1¼ inch of space between the cable and the edge of the stud. Secure the cable to the studs by placing a ½ inch cable staple at least every 4½ feet. Most electricians space these staples even closer than that as needed. Also, fasten cables to studs at least 12 inches from the entrance of a hole. When drilling holes for the cables through wooden studs, drill the hole in the center of the stud, leaving at least 1¼ inches between the hole's edge and the edge of the stud. If you can't keep a 1¼ inch distance, place a nail plate on the edge of the stud to protect the cable from the threat of nails. Feel free to use as many nail plates as you like in the areas where cables may be vulnerable. It is recommended that you use a 3/4 inch auger bit to drill holes large enough to allow you to pass cables comfortably through the studs. When installing cable, pull the long cable runs first, then use shorter cables to connect from box to box.
And I'd just like to add some further information about leaving some slack, which we talk about here in the basics program. They like to leave some slack coming out of the box itself, but I also like to leave slack before it enters the box and the cable. And that's because your drywallers or anybody can actually nick a cable or a jacket, and then if you don't have any slack on the outside, there's nothing you can do but pull another cable. Whereas if you leave some slack on the outside, you've got some room for error. You can pull a little more down inside the box and still be okay. Same goes if you are stripping the conductor when it's inside the box and you nick a cable, well, you've got no more slack if you don't leave a loop outside as well. So you can look at that a little better in more detail on my Secrets of the Internet Electrician. We'll have a link to that as well here. And just a little more information on stapling here. Do not pound those staples in too tight against the cable jacket. That can cause a short circuit, some burning and arcing, and damage that can leave you without the continuity to that circuit, as well as a fire hazard. So I'm going to have a link here as well to an article about stapling a little bit too tight. Another little trick that I talk about in my Secrets of the Internet Electrician, we'll leave a link to that as well here. But when you're drilling your holes, if you've got a long run through a whole bunch of studs, you want to start drilling and drill every second stud, because you can't get a straight shot when you're drilling through studs. You're on a bit of an angle. So if you do every second stud going one way and then turn around and get the other studs going back the other direction, you'll find that cable pulls through that long section of studs so much easier.